organic coffee there. I don't do sugar.
Today isn't about a song release or even a book launch, though there's going to be both of them. It's about having and showing you what it takes to have a real voice, to rise, to heal the world, to make an impact in the midst of everything that you are doing and meant to do in this life. And I am so glad to be joined by my good friend, my brother, Willie J, as we talk today. Surprise, by the way, the new release of both his surprise additional hit single, as well as the new book, Hello, Goodbye Past, Hello Future. So, with
Yeah.
that said, welcome, Willie J. So glad to have you here with us.
Thanks for having me on again, my friend. Appreciate you, brother.
Love having you here with us. All right, so let's talk about it. I mean, just for somebody who's been living under a rock and does not look at the
Mhm.
pop charts at all, tell us a little bit about who you are and how you show up in the world.
Hey, my friend. Hey, I'm a humble servant, leader. I believe leadership is responsibility, it's impact, and I'm the CEO, obviously, of one of the most dominant companies, entertainment company slash publishing now. Thanks to my good friend there, Steve Kidd here, and we're just excited, man. We're working on our fourth released since October. We started off with Couldn't Imagine, which was dedicated to breast cancer awareness, considering my mom, grandmother, cousins, and a few other friends have passed away, godmother, the heart. And yeah, man, Freddie Jones, that was my grandmother, my dad's mom, and my mom, passed away from that crazy disease, man. And the next month, I think 2 months after that, the next month, November, we did 2.0 Never Stop Winning. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, for all of the books. We did the signing the previous month, and the same month we released Couldn't Imagine. And speaking of Couldn't Imagine, let's just go ahead and do it now. Um, can we see this? Yeah, let's see. Couldn't Imagine merch. Yeah. Couldn't Imagine merch, our Shopify store. It's debuting finally. You'll get to see all these beautiful items here. Shouts out to Aaron Emick, our president here. And I'm just blessed with such a dream team, man. And today we're doing something that we've never done. Wait, let me not go too fast. Without you, we dropped Christmas week, right, Steve? I believe
Yes.
Christmas week
Yeah.
in 3 days. I believe it went number one on pop charts. Again, two number one pop singles, uh, beating out people like Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga. The list goes on. I don't want to go through that portfolio, but and the previous bestsellers next to the king of pop himself, and that's Michael Jackson's Thriller in October, that was, right? And then this one in December, we decided to dedicate this record with and that's Without You. Here it is. Let me put that back on the screen. We have merch for all of these singles, guys. Okay. Trying to get this together on this Zoom stuff here. Can you see it, Steve?
No, it's a little bit too. Back up just a little bit. There you go.
There it
Now
is.
we can see it. Yeah.
Without You, with the wings and the rose. Symbiotic
Love it.
too. Yeah, appreciate it. And that went number one in December. In January, we started off with a bang with Thinking with my good buddy, the big homie, the OG in the game, the legendary Marcus Cole from the group Commission, Grammy nominated for 4 Grammys. And he recently wrote a big record with FK&M, which is Fred Hammond, Keith Stetton, all the original, some of the original members of Commission. They formulated a trio, and we got this guy together as I was recording in LA. And I said, "Hey man, I got something for you." And he hopped on it and
Mhm.
murdered that track, and it went number one as well. So we hit our third number one, and it was a pop bestseller, number one movers and shakers, Amazon movers and shakers, and right next to the likes of people like massive, pop stars like Bruno Mars and who was that, Hillary Duff. Man, the list goes on and on. There's just so many. Bruce Springsteen, let me not forget. And we're doing, and I think what makes it so awesome, Steve, is this, man. Thank you for all of the support, all of you guys, our global supporters in our PME Dream Team, which Steve is a part of that as well. And thank you guys for your just your undying, unfailing, consistent support of our records and our books, right? And 2.0 Never Stop Winning, we put that out. Keep Winning Your Way, dedicated to, and I'm kind of backtracking to our veterans and military buddies. You know, I have a lot of buddies that's in active duty, friends in the military. I've had godfathers who was in the Vietnam War, our uncle who was in, my mom's baby brother was in Desert Storm and real wars. So now we're fighting this other war now, right?
Mm,
And that is, we're bringing kingdom R&B, kingdom pop, kingdom hip hop. We're bringing that king with that sound. We're bringing kingdom music to the forefront, and I'm particularly excited about this single, Be With You. This is our first time ever doing a Valentine's Day week surprise release, meaning there's no rollouts, there was no preconceived dates. Like whenever it dropped. You know what I mean? And we're dropping this new book of poetry, guys. I'm getting a little sentimental here, Steve, because before there was personal growth, and Never Stop Winning 2.0, by the way, was #1 international bestseller too, which you already know. And I appreciate you guys so much. Multiple categories, countries, it was awesome. And we thank God for our, thank God for our marketing and sales team, VP, president, guru, Steve Kidd for pushing, and the rest of the PME Dream team and all of you supporters who push along through word of mouth. So today we have Goodbye Past, Hello Future as the surprise book release. Poetry is how I came in, Steve. Um,
mm,
I didn't break into the literary world through writing personal development and personal growth books. That was a new experience for me, which was great. We're embarking with 13, 14 consecutive #1 international bestsellers, global bestsellers, right? But this is personal. My mom had a lot to do with me, man. Um, Writing poetry. I started writing poetry at 12 years old, and I thought I was hiding stuff from her. And she saw it one day, and she
mm,
waited till I got in college and say, "Look, you know I saw that book, that red book." I said, "Mama, you went up to my poetry. What are you doing?" And we're very tight. And she said, "I know about the musician and the singer, but this poetry and writing books and stuff like that and doing poems, I didn't know that. Keep writing. It's going to go forward." So she prophesied it to me. Next thing I entered one of the poems that she read of mine. It's called Life Is. And it won several international poetry awards, got us in the who's who in international poetry. And then I got signed 2 months after she passed to Publish America out in Baltimore, Maryland. They had just put out Lucille Ball's I Love Lucy. You know who Lucille Ball is.
yeah.
She's so funny. And yeah, and they put it out, and I put about 2 or 3 books out, storylines and poetry. And they got us nominated to the Who's in American Literature with some of my favorite all-time poetry gurus and icons like Nikki Giovanni, Maya Angelou at the top of that, of course. And you got Robert Frost, poetry.
Mm,
And man, just amazing stuff. And I was able to do my first book signings with these books. I may even post an old clip, Steve, of someone took a picture of me in the mall. My first book signing ever was at Walden Books. Do you remember Walden Books back in the day?
oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. And it was packed out, saw the books out, and it was awesome. It was the Crying Songbird flying above on then Sunshine with the Ring. And here we are. Now I'm going back and we're pivoting back to the origins of how I got it. Because those were limited edition books too. So you
Mm,
really can't even get those anymore because they were under a certain type of contract and how things go with that. So, which
mm,
was fine. But this is next level poetry right here. Goodbye past, hello future, and it is out today free. And now Be With You is not free. It's free to stream. It's not free on Amazon. You can go ahead and purchase that single today. This is our surprise releases. So that's where we are, man. And more importantly, people are being changed. Lives are being changed by our music and by our books. And it's changing the trajectory of a lot of people's lives. So I'm grateful. I tried to kind of, put all that in one whop.
oh yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to go way back. I'm going to hop in the way back machine with you. Go
Yeah,
way back to those days before, before all the international releases and all the awards and all
yeah,
the everything.
yeah.
Do you remember the time when you questioned and second guessed yourself and thought that you would never amount to anything? Do you remember those feelings and what that was like?
Yes, absolutely. I think those are like human aspects that it's so human to sometimes feel inadequate, even when you're blessed with the goods, so to speak, meaning the gift of God. Every gift comes from God. Every good and perfect gift, if you want to be technical and biblical about it, it comes from God. So with that being said, what really helped me along the way, and it took some time, along the way, is to remember this dichotomy, this nuance right here is that because the giver of the gift, God, who is always paramount, right? Because the giver of the gift gave me these gifts, I started feeling like it would be an insult to do things in scarcity because indirectly it's a disservice and it's a dishonor to God
Mm,
because you're saying like, oh wow, God made this mistake when He gave me these abilities, these several abilities, these gifts, right? So what I started doing is I had to shift my mind. I had to take the word mindset, like we always talk about and write about, and teach about and coach about, and reset my thinking, man. And it was some stinking thinking. It didn't matter if there were applause. It didn't matter, how many people would come and say, "Oh, wow, I was really blessed." That mattered, but in terms of my self-esteem, and I had to learn that confidence meant who and what are you confiding in if that root word confide. So I had to say, wait, who am I confiding in and what am I confiding in and why am
mm,
I afraid? Why am I fearful? Fear is it was false evidence appearing real. So yeah, man, I would have those private moments like that, and I've been
mm,
helping people, as a Maxwell leadership coach, PME coach. If you're going to start our PME coach like Maxwell leadership, and we're going to have our own version where we, have people to graduate from that, and we teach these things because people come to me now, very prominent leaders, right? And they ask me like, man, why do you seem so resolved and reserved and calm, cool, collect? Like when you're doing whatever you're doing, whether it's singing, teaching, coaching, interviews like this. And I just said, I came to realize this, bro, is that there's no script needed in being myself. And
mm,
that is always enough being myself. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to try to be you. I don't have to try to be anyone. And I can admire and honor you, for your greatness and your legendary accomplishments in what you do. But I think when you find your own lane, right, and that took some
mm,
time, and because of that, why it takes away the kinks and because I wrote in Never Stop Winning, bro, volume one, the volume one version, Win Your Way, right? The breast cancer dedication as well. I had to write about some episodes that I had like at this huge national event. And I started second guessing myself behind the stage because the act that was supposed to close out this huge event with the most massive radio station and sponsorships behind it. And I was prepared to only do one song, but I had rehearsed several songs already. Be prepared, right? Preparation before
mm,
destiny. So what in short, just to give you a quick synopsis, it was the Missouri Black Expo where they brought all the dopest, the most awesome juice acts all over the place. You know what I mean? The who's who and celebrityisms and people you see on TV all the time. So I got there with my band in background singers, right? And amazing people, amazing tribe, an amazing tribe, dope tribe. And we were there. And I got there at this big old arena, Civic Center here in St. Louis, in the St. Louis office area, right here. And man, I must have walked around that place about 100 times before it was time to go. Why did I do that? Because they made me nervous. I went from doing one song, supposedly opening up for a national act who had radio spins on Stellar Awards and Dove Award shows, and suddenly I
mm,
get there They said, well, based off of the advertisement, Willie. So I get there thinking I'm just going to do that one song. And I was cool with that. I was absolutely fine with that. They said, no, you're going to be the main guest now. I said, huh? And I'm thinking to myself, I don't even have a record on the radio yet. I don't have this is not even packaged on the CD yet. So what are you talking about? What do you mean? Like close out. I was like, I thought that was so and so. I don't want to call their names, but I thought that was this act, and I said, okay. I wanted to say no, but I'm like, this opportunity doesn't come around all the time. So let's do this. This is hosted by I think Magic 104.9 at the time. It was a huge R&B hip hop station, play some pop records that crossed over to pop. And I was nervous. And why? Because I was starting to doubt myself. I think training, I said that to say this, bro. I think those type of trainings and what started to happen was I needed to feel those butterflies. I had bees in my stomach. People say they get butterflies. I had bumblebees, bees, bro, wasps in my stomach at the time. I walked around, they looking for me. I couldn't eat in the green room with all the dishes and the delicious treats and foods and that I normally would thrash, right? But I walked around in nervousness because I was doubting. I think I started to doubt my status and doubt myself because of that and the intimidation thing. I didn't tell the group that. I didn't tell the band that. But I took it privately and I walked around. It's like, man, just I made it look like I was just checking out the whole arena and Civic Center and I just got lost. And finally it dawned on me like, wait a minute. God spoke to me. And it didn't help that I was hoarse that morning too. Read the story. I don't want to give the whole story up. This is Never Started in Volume 1. We're right. And I said, wow, out of all days, I woke up hoarse. I hadn't thrown my voice out the previous night. I preserved my voice, bro. You know this. You sing, you led worship and stuff. You sing, you traveled yourself. You know about this. That's the worst absolute time, even if I wasn't closing out for your voice. And what it was an attack of the enemy. Let's just go there. It was an attack of the enemy. And without going into too many particulars, it almost would seem Stephen Kingish if I went into the nitty gritty details of that episode, right? I think I told you about it. And finally, God said, hey, who are you relying on? I'm the giver of those gifts. Remember, you teach this, preach this all the time. You sing about this that every good and perfect gift comes from God. I didn't make no mistakes, so you're not a mistake, and your gifts is not a mistake, and your abilities. As of right now, I allowed those opportunities. So if the opportunity is there, that means you're ready for that opportunity, or it wouldn't present itself. So we did. Needless to say, I drank some anointed oil, olive oil, and I said, "Forgive me, Lord. You haven't given me the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind." And all of those teachings and those particular nuances started to really, that is when I learned how to take the URE off of the word pressure that we talk about in both of our books, 2.0 as well, and everything. We're talking about it in this new book a little bit in a poetic type of way. And he helped me to leverage that pressure and said, yeah, let's go. Check it, boom. 10 minutes prior to getting ready to go on stage, man, now my nervousness is starting to diminish because now my mindset shift and I reset my mind and I had a mind shift and I shifted that mind just based off of a new awareness, right, Steve? Sometimes all it takes is a shift in one's awareness of, yeah, I got this. God got me and I got this. And they're honoring my gift by doing this. This is not a slap in the face. What am I afraid of? All I'm doing is getting on stage and sing and be myself with a great tribe of people, background singers who were great lead singers themselves and legendary musicians. Shout out to Theo, shout out to Benjamin Garrett, and my buddy Everett Moore. You know, some of the most phenomenal musicians, from our region, and in my opinion, in the country and the world. And my favorite. So it's like, man, I have all the backing I need. I got God, I got these, great TV people. So I'm good. So 10 minutes or maybe even five or less. I think it was more like five or less. My voice came back in fullness. rasp, everything. It was there. And God's anointing, the oil, and people were crying, and I look out there and I see it was packed out. I was like, that didn't help either. The crowd had come and they said, so they were running this ad on the radio, bro, and on the biggest radio stations down here. And that was something, that brought a little fear and nervousness at first. I was like, oh, whoa, what? It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
the majority of these people, they came to hear you because they liked what they heard on the radio. We spent your record. Burnt on a CD burnt. Remember you burned those CDs back in the day? Right? It was on a white Sony blank CD. You know what I mean? I
Oh,
hadn't even released it, anything, prior to that. So we got out there, needless to say, man, from that point on, I'll be honest. A lot of the jitters and over nervousness, a little bit is okay, it's human. But that crazy nervousness that turns into fear and self-doubt and inadequacy in oneself and capabilities, it left. And I haven't been back because being myself is all I know how to do, all I need to do, and that's what people need to see.
mm. There's two massive things that you taught in there, and I want to help make sure people catch it. The first one is that whole concept of just how regular and real it is for you to have that moment where you need to be aligned to what the true you is and what your real purpose is.
Yeah,
Because without that, um, you know, and you've probably done it too. I know what it's like to go out on stage in my own power, and it's not pretty. I don't care how much, I don't care how much talent you got. You know, it just does not show up right. And I don't care whether you're
oh
Oprah
man,
Winfrey, Tony Robbins, whomever. If
yeah,
you've never seen, I'm sure you've seen it. Tony backstage, and Tony has this whole ritual, and he's jumping up and down and doing jumping jacks and getting his energy going and stuff like that.
yeah,
What people don't understand is that that's Tony's way of, he calls it putting himself in state, but it's really
yeah,
about putting yourself in check. It's about realizing this
yeah,
gift inside of me is something bigger than I could ever possibly possess. And all I
yeah,
can ever really be is a channel to that. So that's number one, because everybody faces that fear. Everybody has that,
yeah,
oh man, I'm afraid to go up on stage. I'm afraid to go live. Whatever,
yeah,
and it's that moment of that fear, and then the giving yourself to God, to
yeah,
really being real and saying, hey, just use me, that
yeah,
makes the real magic happen. And
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
that's important for me to point
yeah.
out to the people that are listening.
That
um,
is,
you
bro.
know
It really is.
and secondarily is that piece that you talked about a couple of times, and that's about being the real you, about
Yeah.
showing up just as who you are. It's
Mm.
so easy for us to critique and be like, well, I have this buddy of mine. This guy has an amazing baritone voice. Okay.
Yeah,
And it took me a lot of years because I was like, man, what a great voice. And wouldn't you love to have his voice for radio, for doing, audio for books and, all those kind of
yeah,
things.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we were having this discussion one day, and yeah, but there are no lead parts in any song, in any genre of music that
yeah,
really, lend towards, you've got Barry White, but that's more of a bass, when you talk about a
yeah,
really truly deep, rich baritone, they don't get given the lead. He's like, so he goes, so I mean, yeah, you could have this voice, but then you'd never be the lead singer. And it's like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
and I mean, it's
yeah,
just so important to just really embrace who you are. And then, because when you can go out, and it doesn't matter whether you're on a live stream and there's one person watching live, or you're in front of a crowd of tens of thousands of people,
yeah,
when you are
yeah,
out there and you are real and you are
yeah,
genuine, that's where connection happens. Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
there's so many artists,
Doubts.
and we won't call out any names. We won't throw shade on any
Yeah,
of them. Okay,
no, no,
but
no.
there are so many artists that have their detractors. We'll just call it that. People that have something negative to say about them, and it doesn't matter what genre of music you like. There
Yeah.
are people you love and people you hate in that genre and all those kind of things. But most of that really comes from that inside thing that
Yeah.
I
It
don't
is.
feel connected to them. There's
Yeah.
something, and often it's because, and there's so many, and I unfortunately think of most of the Disney kids when I think of the people that went through this stage. There's so many of them that went through the stage where the fame went to their head
Yeah.
and they went through that. Oh, I'm, just, and they
Yeah.
stopped being real in them.
Yeah.
I am going to say a specific name because it's a perfect example of the
Yeah.
transition because I feel like he's kind of coming through it. So I think we can talk about it now. And that's Justin Bieber. I mean, if you
Yeah.
see some of the
Yeah.
videos that his mom took of him before he was anybody, and it was just little Justin Bieber sitting there banging on things, pots and pans in his house.
Yeah.
The dude had, really great rhythm. He's talented little
Yeah.
kid, I mean,
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
before any of that stuff. And he did amazing things. And then, he did go through that stage where every
Yeah.
time you turned on the radio or the TV, Justin Bieber was doing something else crazy,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and now he's reached that stage where he's matured and he's just kind of sitting back, and just being,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah.
Um, I love it. I heard an interview one time. It was a recording of an interview because he died before I was born, but of Jimi Hendrix. And the guy was
Mm.
like, "Oh, Jimmy, you're just the most amazing guitar player in the whole entire world."
He
He goes,
was.
"Who do you think is the best guitar player in the world?" He goes, "Well, it's not me." And it was like,
Mm.
"What?" Jimi Hendrix. He goes,
Mhm.
he goes, "No." He goes, "The best guitar player in the world by far is Phil Keaggy from Glass Harp."
Mm.
Most people don't. I mean, you and I know who, but most people
Yeah.
outside of the music industry don't
Yeah.
even know the name Phil Keaggy. They're like, Phil,
Yeah.
who? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
how old are you, Steve, that you know the name Phil Keaggy?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing. I mean, when you
Yeah.
move to that level
Yeah.
where you can just show up, because then you can,
Show up.
then somebody goes, "Here's a microphone," and you just go for it because all you got to do is be you.
That's
You
it.
move beyond that stage of performing.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to love me, and I need to reach everybody, and I'm going to change the entire world. And you just get to the place where you're just like, I just want to show up and be me. That's what I loved most um, about Goodbye Past, Hello Future
Mm.
is, you know, you went so raw and real, especially in Never Stop Winning 2.0. You
Mm.
shared some things in there that are a
Yeah.
lot of people just wouldn't have the guts to share.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some deep, deep, painful stuff in there.
Yeah.
Um, and I love the book, and I mean, but first of all, because the poetry, is just so cool in it. But
Thank you.
I love the fact that it's really that acknowledgement of,
Yeah.
the past is what it is. And there's been some horrible. And
Yeah.
here's some expressions of my past. But what I really want to do is I really want to welcome in the future that
Yeah.
amazing day called today. And,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
and the same thing becomes true when we're talking about the single.
Yeah.
You sent me the single, because I always get to
Yeah.
hear the
Yeah.
advance releases. you know, uh,
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
love it.
Part of the
And
dream team, buddy. That's right.
um, and as soon as I heard it, and I've been trying to think, is it Marvin Gaye? Is it Donny Hathaway? Is it, some of the old ones, some of the, like
Yeah, I grew up
70s,
listening to those icons,
those
those
kind of, I was like,
legends. Yeah.
it's one of those guys, and I still haven't quite placed it, because it's you really,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
feeling to it, it's just kind of that
Yeah.
laid back, got
Yeah.
that soul feel to it,
So, so
really, really, I mean, and to be a 1-2 punch to come out today, it's so cool to be a part of.
it's a
So,
blessing.
um,
It's such a blessing. Yeah. Such a
so let's talk about Hello Future. Let's talk
blessing.
about that part of it. We've talked a lot about the past. Let's talk about Hello Future. What are the things that you're intentionally welcoming in, that are in your, I mean, as far as God sees them, they've already happened, but, that you're welcoming in that are, unfolding in your life right now?
That's a great question, man. And you dropped some gems, my friend. If I can even pivot real quick, and then it's kind of parallel and kind of
Yeah.
emerge those two together. But the point that you made about, when you're getting on stage and I want everybody to love me, whoa, 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 whoa. I think that's an important piece to revisit and unpack, and it will lead us right into that question. So,
Mm,
because in order to really fully embrace the future, you have to be able to face it, face the past, embrace it, and then you can erase those things that were once toxic. I think one of the
mm,
most toxic things for anyone, any leader, right, which is influence, impact, and responsibility, is to have this fantasy, bro, that you're going to have everybody love you and like you.
mm,
I think that is a big problem in the industries, in the marketplace, in all leadership, and people give up on their leadership roles and positions as recording artists and or authors or coaches. It's like they want everybody to like them, Steve. That is
mm,
fantasy land. Everybody didn't like God. Everybody doesn't like Yeshua, Jesus. Everybody, look what he did with no other man or person can do. He gave us like, so why are we trying to be like that? Is one of those false evidence appearing real, and it brings unnecessary fear, right?
mm,
How you quench that is, and I think today in the future, I'm growing more in that truth, you know?
mm,
Um, of like, no, even if it's 1 million people or 2 million people, and we have had millions of people tune into our shows and Never Stop Winning radio and stuff we do, right? If you tally everything up, millions of streams. I got enough sense to know, bro, that that's not everybody.
mm,
And it doesn't have to be everybody, because that's a dangerous thing to want everybody to love you. Because now
mm,
you have to weed out more Judases who will betray you with a kiss. You know what I mean? You gotta have to
yeah.
weed out more responsibility. The greater the platform, the greater the stage, the greater the responsibility, right?
Mm,
And the cool
yeah.
part is this: even in what I'm saying, no one's going to be perfect in that. There's going to be some there's this humanity, there's this human side of us that wants acceptance, right? But I think when you start to, let's just go there. What helps me is to meditate more on this truth that we're talking about right now, right? Is to
Mm,
meditate, embrace it, to constantly store it into my subconscious mind that I am winning the people that I need to win, because God is paramount in me, and the gifts He gave me, and my team,
mm,
my dream team, is amazing, and everything is going to function right. And I think that's the future: embracing authenticity, getting rid of this false ideology that I need everybody to love me and everybody to like me. No, you don't. Because when you do that and you get that sense of fulfillment, which is still false and fabricated and fantasized,
mm,
right?
mhm,
Is that you're going to set yourself up to have to need that for the rest of your life.
mhm,
That's the danger. But once you pull that plug, and I've been pulling that plug more, Steve, and growing in those things that we already know, in terms of knowing that it is the best way to think, is the healthiest way for one to approach the stage, to approach bigger stages of that. I'm just trying to reach somebody. And that somebody leads to hundreds, tens, hundreds, thousands, and millions, right? But focus on that one. Heaven said it, heaven goes after the one, not more than 99. So I think I'm growing more in that space. And let's chase the impact. So I'm chasing more impact, being more impactful with what I write, with what I sing, and
mm.
these love songs. This is just this stuff I do all of the time. The things that I write about, the things that we write about, 2.0, I think you brought that up. Here it is. I don't know. Can we see it here? We can't do
There you
both,
go.
huh?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So go grab that, but go grab Goodbye Past Hello Future. And I'm really talking about those recipes. It's really poems that's in poetry geared towards helping people to embrace more awareness of their future versus their past trauma. Um, and that's what I've been doing more of, helping people to develop. and cultivate more of a mindset that says, I love people, but I don't need all people to love me or like me.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to reach somebody. I don't put a metric on it. There's no metrics involved. There's no limits. And then the dope thing is there's no limits to what is possible when you approach it that way. So I'm growing more of that and passing that piece around to our inner circle and inner core of leaders at PME, even other leaders, because there's a lot of leaders who struggle with that. So that leading with compassion, more compassion, more passion, and but look, with more of a sense of detachment. That's what I'm working on. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And that's
I
why I'm
love it.
enjoying myself, man. I'm smiling it because there's no pressure in that. There's no pressure when you approach it that way. So I'm
I
growing
love it.
in that one day at a time, one breath at a time.
Yeah. So there's been, we'll just call it, four number one hit singles since October.
Oof,
You're now
time
at,
is
is it
flying, man.
14 or are we at 15 books now?
We're about
Uh,
14. It'll be
14.
14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. With the Les Brown book
14.
that's dropping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
dropping this month. Co-authoring with the legendary Les Brown.
Yeah.
Big event coming up on the 21st, which is next week in Newport Beach, California. Let me definitely shout that out real fast
Mm,
before it slips my mind.
that's nice.
My buddy Rodriguez and Tag Talks. Their next level of TED Talks. That's the other branch of TED Talks. And
Mm,
yeah, man. So we're excited about that. And yeah, it's that's what I've been growing in, man. It seems like a lot. I had people asking me, when do you sleep? I'm like, I sleep when I'm supposed to sleep for the most part, and there's no stress. I know most people would pull their hairs out, man, juggling what we juggle. You know what I'm saying? And this is the fourth one, like you say, since October. And this book of poetry it's been a ride, man. It has my mom connected to it, so I'm very, it's very sentimental to me, bro. It's
mm.
very emotional in a good way, and yeah, I'm just looking forward to the world getting to grasp that and absorb the new poetry.
I
Mhm.
love it.
Yeah,
So, talk to us just a little bit. Give the people some insight in how they can, at the place that they're at, make the difference that they're meant to make.
I love that. I love that. I think it comes back to introspection. I call it kingdom introspection, right? It starts. You said this earlier, and I wanted to revisit that. Picking on some of those gems that we talk about this type of stuff all the time. Me and you, right? Is winning is from the inside out. I believe everything functions from the inside out. Cars, airplanes, your Uber rides, and we drive everything from the inside out. So where we're driven is really it has to come from here and
Mm,
make yeah that internal place. I call it kingdom introspection, and that's where the kingdom poetry. We're trying to start a new genre here with kingdom poetry, which consists of a lot of things: love, pain, uh, times where you felt inadequate and fearful, but you diminish those things, those toxic frequencies, right? By just embracing oneself and driving things from the inside out. Stand driven, drive your car. We're our vehicles. Our bodies are vehicles and temples, right? They're vehicles, and we're driving somewhere, and we're being driven by something or some things, but that really comes from the inside out in order to be successful in what you're trying to do. Passion. That's our fuel. That's the gas. you know, Purpose driven mindset. Keep that
mm,
purpose driven mindset. And how do you drive your purpose? With passion, the fuel of purpose, the gasoline of passion, it drives purpose. And you get that, and you get that by going inside this internal space. And you said something about comparison. Divorce the ideology of comparing or the need to feel that you need to compare yourself. Because first of all, no one can beat you doing you, or no one can be
Mhm.
you, and and no one can really tell you who or what you should be. So you have that power, and embrace that. And the only way to embrace that is to do it from the inside. That's what I would tell
Mhm.
every leader right now in that predicament. In terms of the question you just asked.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so strong and so powerful because, there's an old phrase that says, hard times make hard people, and hard
yeah,
people make, good times, and then
yeah,
good times end up making soft people.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
there's a lot of people, whether you like that saying or not, I actually really love it, but there's a lot of people that really feel lost right now. They're
mhm,
just kind of looking for this thing to grab a hold of,
mhm,
and when they grab it, it's kind of like when I just grabbed the air there, you really
yeah,
didn't get anything, it's just
yeah,
like
yeah,
slips through their fingers, and they're trying and they're trying. And the best thing, and of course we could go really deeply spiritually, biblically to you, but
yeah,
really the best thing is to grab a hold of the amazing uniqueness that is you,
yeah,
understanding how
yeah,
powerfully cool you are, and
yeah,
and then find a way to show up in the space that is yours, the space,
yeah,
because you're the only person who can do it.
yeah,
You said earlier, I love this, and I talk about it all the time. You said earlier about, you already are the victor, you already are the winner. I
yeah,
always am saying, when it
yeah,
comes to running the race of your life, you
mm,
absolutely are going to win it. There is nobody
yeah,
else at the end of your
yeah,
life that's going to
yeah,
break the tape and come in and, sneak in from behind you and win the race. It's like, oh,
yeah,
he was running great, and then,
yeah,
the guy
yeah,
came in and, took him
absolutely,
in the last lap. It just
yeah,
doesn't work that way. You are going to win your race. And
yeah,
the greater you can be you, the more you can win. I mean, that's
that's
why,
it,
of course, and we're going to have to put together another book here sooner than later, another,
absolutely,
win your way kind of a book,
no
because,
doubts, no
um,
doubts,
that's really what winning is. It's about knowing who you are,
yeah,
and winning
yeah,
that way.
your way,
Yeah,
your way,
I mean, that's
yeah,
that's the real important. That's what the world's looking for, and that's what somebody, if you feel whatever kind of way, I mean, I can
yeah,
put several different emotions. If you feel the feelings too much about whatever it is, happy, sad, mad, glad, angry, frustrated, whatever, I really encourage you today, take some time to
yeah,
look at how can I share who I am, and
yeah,
who is the one that I can share that with.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I think that's what I love about both the song and the book, is that, they're
yeah,
really just you saying, hey,
yeah,
here I am.
yeah,
This is me. This is
this is
where
who I
I've
am,
been. This is where I'm going.
yep,
This is how I feel. This is how much I love my lady, but even more so, this is how much I love God, and
yeah,
how much I just love that
yeah,
quiet time alone with Him. And
that
those are
part,
those are
that
powerful,
part,
powerful moments.
that part, bro.
Yeah.
That's
And
where
this
this
is
is all
this is
stems
it
from.
again. Is,
Yeah,
yes, it's got that horizontal and vertical integration, but this one, in some ways is even, I mean, it's just like, okay, we spent some time in the closet just kind of praising God, and now we're just letting it all hang out.
yeah,
We're just
man.
showing Jesus right here, and just,
I promise you, bro.
straight up.
Yeah, yeah, and he loves that joint. And I sing this in my private, that isolated, meditated space. And I advise that too for people who are looking right now in you know uh, external places to find fulfillment and you know wholeness. Is that space is in you. The kingdom of God is within you, and visit that space and you'll find you. You know what I mean? And you got a lot of people, Steve, like you said, so brilliantly. There's people they're lost right now, and they're looking to and fro. Like, oh man, maybe if I get with them or get with him or get with her or get with that crew or that sector of people, or you know what I mean, and then I'll feel accomplished. I'll feel whole again. And it's like, and it never happens because we're looking, it's the internal issues that you know what I mean, that we're trying to fix an internal issue by external means. And I've been there, and that never works, let me tell you. But being your authentic self, bro, that's what I love about these two surprises. It's not a surprise of me trying to be someone else, or I couldn't imagine someone else, or without you as someone else. These number ones in the books 2.0 and Goodbye Past Hello Future. This is just who your boy is. I don't know how to do anything else any more or less than be myself. And that is okay. Be okay. You're already winning, like you said. And we talk about this, you're right. Point out. You're already winning. So win and prosper where you are, where you currently are. Okay. And you grow in that, and it creates a snowball effect, and then you get some momentum at being yourself. And the worst thing that can happen, and I'm about done, is this: it's for you to build momentum and moments based off of somebody else's momentum and moments that's not your own. That's dangerous because you're going to set yourself up to have to need that again and again. And then when it doesn't happen, what do they do, Steve? What do most people do? What do we do when we're in that predicament? Most of the time, we'll quit. No, keep growing with the flow of being yourself, being and becoming everything you're being. So be that winner that you are. Never stop winning your way. Kingdom, and keep winning your way once you start winning, right, Steve? You got to sustain that winning. Don't, because I've seen people in this game, bro. I've seen people in this game who started off being themselves, but then they got blinded by some type of spotlight. And a lot of times it's someone else's spotlight that they're being blinded of, and they can't even enjoy their own God given spotlight. And now that spotlight is gone or it's diminished because now they've taken on some other character or characteristics from some other artist, other speaker. You know, it goes for speaking as well. There's no script needed for that. Just be you, and that is enough. You're already a winner. Now keep winning at being you. Don't try winning at being somebody else, because that will never work.
Oh, such good stuff. You have a voice, you have a message, you have something that only you can do. There will be
Yeah.
other people. I love it. I mean, you and I are both musicians. You
Hmm.
know what it's like when you write that song and you don't put it out. And then,
Right.
a week, a year, 10 years
Yeah.
later, you hear
Yeah.
that, not exactly that song, but, because
Yeah.
God was like,
Yeah.
no, this song's coming out. I mean, you can
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
follow what I'm doing or I'm bringing it out either way.
Either
This is a
way,
message the
we
world's going to
dropping it.
hear.
We dropping. We
Um,
dropping. Yeah.
you know, but at the end of the day, the you that's in that, the
Yeah.
you that's meant to say that,
Yeah.
it's a loss to all of us.
Yeah.
Not because we need to, and I agree completely with what you said earlier about, not trying to love, have everybody love you,
That's
but
dangerous.
the whole world will be less than if you don't do the thing that you can do. And I want to make it really easy
Mm.
for everybody because all you got to do is be the best you that you can be in the day called today. My good
That.
friend in
Ooh,
Villanueva
I
used to
love
always
that.
use the phrase, yesterday's a canceled check. Tomorrow is a promissory note. Today is the only legal tender you can spend. And
Yes,
so,
sir.
I mean, if we blew it yesterday, hey, I blew it yesterday. I'm really sorry. And we apologize and we move forward. And we obviously all of us have exciting, cool plans for the future, but we can't
Yeah.
live tomorrow. We try, we do, we
Yeah.
try to, use tomorrow's energy today too, and then we end up, blowing
Yeah.
out both today and tomorrow. But when we
Yeah.
just show up right here today, it makes such
Today.
a difference for people.
Today.
And
Now.
I know there's people that have been hearing what we're saying, and absolutely they've got to get the book. I've dropped the links
Go
And I've
get it.
shown
We
them
made it
one
free.
screen. Yeah,
Surprise.
yeah. Book is
Boom.
free. The song is $1.29. I mean, spend a
Yeah.
buck.
Go ahead and get it. It's
Uh,
gonna bless
yeah,
you too. I guarantee you.
Oh
It's gonna
yeah. I
bless you.
mean, you will
It's
listen
gonna
to it
bless
over and over again.
you. God's
But
plan.
in addition to that, do something today to share your message with the world.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
who you are and what you're doing is important. I want to call on you one last time here for just a minute or two to just really encourage people. You've had your highs, you've had your lows, you've had the times when
Man.
life has been ugh, and you've had times when life has just been,
Oh boy.
the thing people dream about having. But
Yeah.
encourage them to go for it, to win today.
Love it. I love it. That just know this. Your voice is very powerful. And I love what you said. And you can have a global voice. And we're proof of that. God will bless you. If that's your dream, that's your vision, you can do that. It may not be everyone, but that's okay. But you get to touch a lot of souls and lives all over the world at being yourself and allow your resilience to be brilliance, meaning that you never give up on you. See, sometimes we won't give up on other people, but we're so apt sometimes, Steve, to give up on ourselves. Don't
Mm,
give up on your dream. That's a God given dream. Don't give up on your vision and mission. That's a God given vision and mission to empower people and change their lives. And don't be afraid. Now is what we were talking about, the present, right? Eleanor Roosevelt said, yesterday's history is gone. Today, today is the present. Tomorrow is a mystery, and today is the present. That is the future. I love what you said. I want to get that off my psyche because I was hearing it. I'm like, no, your future is now because
mm,
tomorrow's not even promised. But what you do now will
mm,
give you and present a better tomorrow. And your time is opportunity. And if you're breathing right now, if you're
mm,
breathing right now, that means that God is not done with you yet and that it's not over for you. New breath is new opportunity. And keep on growing with the flow and say goodbye, past, and start saying hello to your future now. The future is determined by now. Take it backwards, and you got the word what? One. You've already won. Yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Your voice isn't meant to impress the crowd. It's meant to
Exactly.
reach the one person who needs it today. And
Yeah,
when you let it rise, your voice, when you let it
yeah,
rise,
yeah.
that's when everything changes. Willie, thanks so
Ah,
much
that's
for
good,
all
man.
the time that we
Yeah.
get to spend together and, letting people in on all of our secret conversations we have. And for all the merch, you got to get the
Get,
mugs
get the
and the
mugs,
and the
the
hoodies
shirts. The hoodies
and
are
all
really
the
going crazy.
books,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah,
all that
yeah. The hats,
stuff.
we got the PME hats.
Oh
So
man, yeah, you
our
got to get
Shopify,
every
yeah,
last
we're
bit of it.
debuting. Yeah, yeah,
I
gonna
love
get
it.
that. And get that book and song. Be With You is out right now. Our surprise Valentine's Day week. Pardon me. I'm so excited getting tripped up here. A Valentine's Day surprise release of the book of poetry, my book of poetry, Goodbye Past, Hello Future. And we have Be With You, our love ballad, man. And I promise you that you'll be blessed. We just appreciate you guys. And thank you for having me, brother. Thank you. And
Thanks
for
so much
being
for
on the
being here.
PME Dream Team. Yes, sir. We
Thanks.
value you, brother.
Thank you, everybody,
Yes,
for
sir.
joining us today.
Yeah.
We appreciate you. We're so glad to have you here with us. We'll be back again tomorrow. Not saying that we got another surprise like this, but you never know what's going to happen
Yeah,
between
we've
today
never done
and
this
tomorrow.
before. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
and
it's
uh,
different.
we look forward to being here with you. Thanks for joining me today, Willie.
Hey, thank you for having me, buddy. Thanks. Thanks, brother. I appreciate you, Steve. Peace, brother.